You're 58 years old. You have $200,000 saved for retirement. You type your numbers into an online calculator and it tells you that you need $1.2 million. It shows you a little red bar. Behind schedule. So that's it, right? You missed it. The train left. No. But here's what nobody tells you. That calculator answered a question you never asked. It told you what it takes to retire like a millionaire. You asked what it takes to retire like you. Those are two completely different questions. And the second one has much better answers. I'm Arthur. I worked an ordinary job for 30 years, retired at 52, and now I explain what nobody explained to me. A quick, honest note. This channel uses AI tools for the voice and the visuals, and nothing here is financial advice. Every situation is different. And for decisions this size, a fee-only fiduciary advisor is worth the money. What I can give you is the map. Let's get into it. Before we start, remember this number, $450,000. Somewhere in this video, I'm going to show you where a person with $200,000 finds another $450,000 they didn't know they had. It's not an account. It's not an inheritance. It's not a scratch ticket. $450. Keep it in your pocket. We'll come back for it. My brother-in-law Dave called me 3 years ago on a Sunday night. Dave was 61 then. Warehouse supervisor, 39 years of work, knees that sound like gravel. He didn't say hello. He said, "I have $206,000 and I can't do this anymore. Tell me the truth." Am I finished? Here's the truth I told him, and it's the spine of this whole video. $200,000 is not enough to retire on, and $200,000 is more than enough to retire with. The difference between those two sentences is 5 decisions. Not luck, not the market. 5 decisions that most people make by accident, by default, or by shame, and that you're going to make on purpose. Because here's the part the red bar never shows you. The median retirement savings for Americans in their early 60s is nowhere near $1 million. Depending on the survey, the typical household entering retirement holds somewhere in the low to mid 200,000s. Dave isn't behind everyone. Dave is everyone. And everyone retires anyway. The question is only whether they do it blind or with their eyes open. Let's open your eyes. 5 decisions. The single biggest financial decision of your 60s fits on a postcard. When do you turn on Social Security? You can claim at 62. Most people in Dave's position do. It's the default of the tired. But listen to the machinery first. Claim at 62, and you lock in a permanent cut of around 30% compared to your full retirement age of 67. Wait past 67, and the check grows about 8% for every year you hold off, until 70. That's not a market return. That's not a maybe. It's written into the formula, a guaranteed inflation-adjusted raise for waiting. Let me make it concrete. Say your full age benefit would be $2,000 a month. Claim at 62, roughly $400. Claim at 70, roughly $2,280. That's over $1,000 a month, every month, for the rest of your life, between the two doors. Now, should everyone wait? No. And be suspicious of anyone who says it that simply. If your health is poor, if the work is destroying you and there's no other income, claiming early can be the right call. The break-even math typically lands somewhere around age 80. Die before it, early claiming 1, live past it, waiting 1. And here's the fact that reframes everything. A 62-year-old American today has strong odds of seeing their mid-80s. You're not making a bet on dying early. You're insuring against living long. The decision, stated properly, isn't, when do I want the money? It's, which paycheck do I want protecting me at 85? The small one or the big one? For most people with modest savings, the answer will surprise you. The 200,000's most powerful job may be to buy you the ability to wait. Hold that thought. Decision 4 depends on it. Here's the decision almost nobody sees coming until it hits them. Health insurance. Medicare starts at 65, not 62. Retire at 62, and you are personally responsible for 3 years of health coverage. The bridge years, at the most expensive age to buy it. Walk into the individual market unprepared at 62, and the premiums can genuinely run 4 figures a month for a couple. I've watched that single-line item send people back to work, But, and this is the part that rewards planning, marketplace coverage in the US is subsidized based on your income, not your savings. Read that again, not your savings. A retired 62-year-old living modestly off savings can show a low taxable income on paper, and low taxable income can mean dramatically reduced premiums. The difference between a well-planned bridge and an unplanned one can be tens of thousands of dollars over 3 years. For the same coverage, the same person, the same age. The rules shift year to year, so this is exactly the decision to walk through with a professional before you hand in your notice. But the principle is permanent. The bridge years are a planning problem, not a savings problem. People with far more than $200,000 get this wrong. People with less get it right every year. Ask yourself right now, do you know what your bridge would cost? Because if the answer is no, that number, not the million-dollar red bar, is your actual homework. Now for the decision that carries the number I asked you to remember. There's a rule of thumb in retirement planning, the 4% idea, which says a portfolio can sustainably pay you out around 4% a year, adjusted over time. It comes from historical market studies, and past performance does not guarantee future results, but as a rough compass, it's served people well. Run it backwards. To generate $2,500 a month, $18,000 a year, a portfolio needs to be about $450,000. There it is, $450. Now, what else produces $1,500 a month? 15 hours a week at $25 an hour. A hardware store. Bookkeeping for 2 small businesses. Driving a school van. Watching a neighbor's kids 2 days a week. A quiet part-time job is a $450,000 portfolio you can conjure out of thin air. That's not a consolation prize, friend. That is the single most powerful asset available to a 62-year-old. And unlike the portfolio, it doesn't crash. The 4% idea I just used, spending times 25, has an entire video of its own if you want the full napkin. I know what some of you are thinking. I wanted to retire, not work. I understand. But look at what 15 gentle hours buys in this plan. It covers the gap while Social Security grows 8% a year. It shields the $200,000 from being drained in a down market. And there's a wrinkle to know. Claim Social Security early and keep working, and an earnings test can temporarily withhold part of your benefit. One more reason the work first, claim later order tends to win. Retirement was never a light switch. It's a dimmer. The people who fail at this stage are the ones who treat it as all or nothing. Remember that phrase? It's coming back. So if part-time work pays the bills and Social Security is being left to grow, what's the $200,000 for? This is where the plan clicks together. That money has 3 jobs, in this order. Job 1, the buffer. 1 to 2 years of basic expenses somewhere safe and boring. This is what lets you sleep and what keeps you from selling investments in a bad year. Job 2, the bridge financing. It tops up the gap between what part-time work brings in and what life costs, from 62 to whenever you claim. Say the gap is $800 a month. That's under $10,000 a year. The buffer barely notices. Job 3, the raise machine. Every year you cover from savings plus work instead of claiming is another 8% on the government check that will protect you at 85, inflation adjusted, for life, no market risk. Run Dave's version of this. Claim at 67 instead of 62, and the check goes from about $1,400 to about $2,000 a month. If basic expenses run $3,200, the problem your savings must solve for the rest of your life is now $1,200 a month, and shrinking to 0 on the days you feel like working a little. See what happened? The calculator said you need $1.2 million because it assumed the portfolio does everything. In the real plan, the portfolio is not the engine. It's the clutch, the thing that lets the bigger engines engage smoothly. $200,000 is a magnificent clutch. One decision left, and for many people it's the biggest number on the board, the roof over your head. If you own a home in your 60s, you're likely sitting on more wealth in equity than in your retirement account. For a huge share of Americans, the house is most of the net worth. And it's also, quietly, most of the spending. The taxes, the insurance, the repairs, the heating of rooms nobody sits in anymore. Downsizing is the lever nobody wants to touch, so I'll just lay the math on the table and step back. Sell the $380,000 four-bedroom, buy the $240,000 two-bedroom 20 minutes away. That's 6 figures of freed capital and hundreds a month in lower carrying costs, often more total impact than every other decision in this video combined. Is it emotionally free? No. It's the room where your kids grew up, and I won't pretend a spreadsheet beats that. Some people rightly decide the house is the retirement, but decide it, don't default it. The house is a decision wearing a memory as a disguise. Now let me tell you what actually ruins retirements at this level. It isn't the market. It isn't inflation. It's shame. Shame is what keeps people from ever running these numbers because they're afraid of what the numbers will say. So they don't plan, they brace. They claim at 62 by default, take the permanent 30% cut, never price the bridge years, never consider the dimmer switch, and leave the house on autopilot. Every single default lands on the expensive side. Add them up, and the all-or-nothing retiree can leave a few $100,000 of lifetime value on the table, roughly the size of the savings they were ashamed of in the first place. The red bar was never information. It was a sales pitch for products you don't need and guilt you don't deserve. You don't need to be a millionaire. You need 5 deliberate decisions and the nerve to look at your own numbers in daylight. Dave is 64 now. He left the warehouse 8 months after that Sunday call. He works Tuesday and Thursday mornings at a garden supply store. He likes the smell of the place, tells me tomato plants are better company than middle management. His Social Security is still untouched, growing 8% a year. The $206,000 is a little smaller, doing its quiet clutch work exactly as designed. Last month he called me on a Sunday again. Different voice entirely. He said, "You know what I did Wednesday?" Nothing. All day. It was magnificent. Dave never found $1.2 million. He found 5 decisions. And whatever your age, the fastest way to shrink the gap Dave had to bridge is to need less every month. That's not a sacrifice. It's what quiet money actually looks like. I put 10 of its tells in the video about the signs someone is actually rich. Gene's pickup is in there. If you're 55, 60, 62 and carrying that quiet dread, you are not finished. You're one honest afternoon with your numbers away from starting. If this took some weight off, tell me your age and your one biggest question in the comments. I read them all. Take care of your money. It's quietly taking care of you.